When talking about bounce back players for 2020, I find it very fitting to quote great American poet Big Sean at a time like this, and he wrote, "Look, last night I took an L, but tonight I bounce back. Wake up every morning, but by the night I count stacks. Boy, I've been broke as hell, cashed a check, and bounced back. D-Town, LAX, every week I bounce back." So who are some of those 2020 fantasy football bounce back players? I have a couple right now. What is going on, Headliner Nation, Jake Fantasy Headliners? Hopefully everybody's doing well out there, and hopefully those inspiring words by Big Sean really got you in the mood for some bounce back players here in 2020. Got a few names we're going to be talking about, and we're going to get right into the list. Just a quick reminder, though, draft guide for sale on our website, thefantasyheadliners.com. Jam-packed full of information here in 2020, so make sure you check that out. But now let's get right into a few names that we're looking to bounce back here in 2020. All right, first name we're going to be talking about is probably somebody that a lot of people are going to be like, nah, man, I ain't feeling this one. But Big Sean even mentioned D-Town in his words, so it's got to be part of the plan here for 2020, right? I'm talking about Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the Detroit Lions. So yeah, dude basically had a form of a broken back last year, right? But all reports coming back saying he's fully healthy and should be good to go for 2020. This is also a dude who was on pace to throw for almost 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns last year through 8 games before suffering his injury. Now, if you've watched us for any length of time, then you know we like drafting quarterbacks later in our fantasy football drafts. And right now, Matthew Stafford is currently quarterback 13, going in the 11th round of drafts. Now, prior to last year, he hadn't missed a game since 2010. So he's not one of these guys who are just made of glass out there on the football field. He's thrown the ball a minimum of 555 times in every season he's played in full. And now he should have a full complement of weapons at his disposal. We have Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, who was on a show recently here on this channel about a potential late round pick for a lot of people in fantasy football. Danny Amendola out of the slot could provide a very useful target for one Matthew Stafford. TJ Hawkinson in his second year. Now they have new rookie DeAndre Swift in the backfield to really give them a dynamic running game. The guy should be set up to succeed here in 2020. Now the defense, it's also improved ever since it's turned into all former Patriots, basically with Danny Shelton, Trey Flowers, Jamie Collins, etc. This could take some of the pressure off Stafford so he isn't out there killing himself every single week trying to make too much happen. Is he the best fantasy football quarterback here in 2020? No, he's probably not. But if you want to wait on quarterback until the later rounds, somebody with the upside, the potential, the weapons that he has at his disposal, Matthew Stafford is definitely a name to pay attention to, because if he's healthy, he's capable of putting up huge numbers. Looking for a bounce back year here this year for Matthew Stafford. Up next, what about Alvin Kamara? You either hate him or you love him. Basically, if you had him in your fantasy football league last year, you probably hate him. But if you didn't, you love him because you like the potential somewhat of a discount you may get in 2020. But we know he wasn't 100% healthy last year, right? So let's just see how bad did he really burn people. He played 14 games last year in half-point PPR scoring leagues. He still finished as running back 12 overall. He still scored more than 200 points in those leagues. So it's not like this guy just totally sucked and killed your fantasy football team altogether. He just underperformed. But Kamara's role has been the same in this offense since he stepped foot in New Orleans. He's averaging 100 targets and 81 receptions a year over his last 3 years and has yet to have less than 1,330 total yards in a season. Now, the Drew Brees window, it's closing, right? And Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas will continue to be the top options in this offense. However, the additions of Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook is still there. Other viable targets can help open up the running game for Alvin Kamara. It's really all about touchdowns, right? That's really where he took a hit last year. Because in 2017, he had 13 total touchdowns, 18 total touchdowns in 2018. and then only 6 in 2019. If he can get that number closer to the 10 mark, he is a top 5 fantasy running back easily. And now his ADP is still in the first round, but he's running back 5 off the board, which in my opinion still makes him a value and definitely a candidate to bounce back to what we were used to seeing with Alvin Kamara. In my opinion, Alvin Kamara is definitely somebody who I'm interested in, and I can totally see bouncing back here in 2020. Last guy we're going to be talking about is going to be Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings. Another one of these guys that people are just kind of off the bandwagon on, and he could be a great value and a bounce-back player here in 2020. Now, I know that injuries killed the majority of his 2019 season, and he's not getting any younger, right? He's about to be 30, which is the equivalent to NFL old for wide receivers. And at the end of 2019, he was able to come back from his hamstring issues that plagued him throughout the year, but once he returned, he had to deal with a bad ankle laceration caused by a teammate in practice. We're talking about practice. But all of these should be healed. He should be good to go in 2020. But the damage to his ADP has already been done, and that could be a benefit for us. Right now, his ADP has dropped to the 4th round of drafts, and he's currently wide receiver 16. Now, we know Stephon Diggs, he's no longer in town, right? He's been shipped out. He's in Buffalo. And they've drafted rookie wide receiver Justin Jefferson out of LSU to come to the Minnesota Vikings. But don't worry, that's actually a good thing for Adam Thielen. Justin Jefferson is a pro-ready wide receiver that defenses cannot forget about. He's going to be able to come in week 1 and produce numbers on the field. So defenses aren't going to solely be able to focus on just Adam Thielen in the passing game, which is great. Could give him the opportunity at more one-on-one coverage, especially with Dalvin Cook in the backfield, a solid running game that is going to have to keep the defense honest. So let's look at 2020. The offseason, it's been a little bit different, right? Teams haven't been able to do as much as they may like to thanks to the Rona, but fortunately for Adam Thielen, him and Kirk Cousins already have that chemistry, right? They've developed that over the past few years, and they know where each other is going to be on the football field. So that this offseason being a little bit different than the past isn't going to hurt these two as much as maybe it will a Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. They're not going to have those added reps. And over the past 2 seasons, Kirk Cousins has a quarterback rating of 120.5 when he's targeting Adam Thielen. That's among tops in the league. Now, despite a shortened 2019 season, Adam Thielen was still third amongst all wide receivers in fantasy football, scoring 2.38 fantasy points per target. And don't forget, just in 2018, this guy was top 10 among all wide receivers in the NFL in targets with 155, receptions with 113, receiving yards with 1,373, red zone receptions with 15, touchdowns with 9, and in PPR fantasy points per game scored 19 points per game. If you find yourself going heavy running back early in your drafts, like a lot of people will this year, Adam Thielen in the 4th round is a risk, but the upside is huge because we're talking about a guy who just recently was going in the 2nd and 3rd round. Don't sleep on Adam Thielen. He's definitely a candidate to bounce back here in 2020 fantasy football. All right, so those are 3 names that we really need to track here throughout the offseason, right? Let's pay attention to their ADP because they may not only bounce back, they may also be value picks for us here in 2020. That's what we're trying to find is the best value at their current ADPs. Now, definitely, there's going to be some more names that we can add to this list, right? There's a few others I wanted to add, but let's be realistic. It's May 17th. We have to have content all the way until the season starts. If I come out here and list 15 players on a video, I'm not like some of those other channels that are going to, flip-flop all throughout the offseason with who my current sleepers and stuff. No, we don't play that like that over here. We're trying to make sure that you have content that is new content all throughout the offseason. We're not trying to replay everything over and over like a lot of other people. You guys don't need that. I don't want to waste your time with it. So that's why we're kind of taking it a little bit slow, a few names at a time, just trying to leave a few breadcrumbs for you to easily digest and make your fantasy football draft plans. But we greatly appreciate the support out there. Make sure you be interactive with us and leave us a comment down below. Myself, Kyle, other members of Headliner Nation do our best to interact with you guys as much as we possibly can in the comment section down below this video. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your weekend, a great week next week. We'll be looking forward to some more videos coming out, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.